Okay, 7 p.m. Tuesday, March 17th. Call the zoning board to order. Roll call vote, please.
Weatherhead.
Yep.
Gordon.
Yep.
Youngkin.
Yes.
Sizemore.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Darnell.
Yes.
Halter.
Yes.
They're not, they tried to line it.
Has everybody had a chance to read 2 copies of minutes? We'll go to the first one, February 17th, 2026.
Make a motion to accept the minutes as presented.
I second.
Yep.
Yes.
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 Second set of minutes dated March 9th, 2026.
Make a motion to accept those minutes as presented.
Second.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. Abstain.
Old business. I would imagine that would include the last meeting with the land use plan and the discussion on the moratorium issued by the trustees.
I was thinking about the moratorium a little bit. It was something of that impact and something that we're agreeing to put on pause for 1 year. Do you guys think it might be important to come up with some zoning regulations for that before the timeline expires? In case maybe it doesn't get renewed?
To be fair, we're obligated to.
Yeah.
Not only we're obligated to because it tells us we have to, but if we don't, then they're in violation. So we have to do that.
Okay.
I think that kind of falls in line with the land use plan and the zoning anyway.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I don't know if I need a motion for this then or not, but I was gonna make a motion that the board temporarily pauses further development of the township-wide land use plan for limited purpose of prioritizing review, research, and potential adoption of zoning regulations specific to data centers and similar high-impact uses. Noting that this action is not intended to assure that, during the current temporary moratorium on data center development, the township has to evaluate and establish appropriate zoning standards that are consistent with long-term planning goals, infrastructure capacity, and the general welfare of the community. The pause isn't intended to restrict or target any specific use, but rather allow for a thoughtful and proactive approach to land use regulation before resuming broader land use planning efforts. So in short, just saying, yeah, we're gonna come up with these districts. Probably I got a copy for you.
I'd rather have a copy and
Yeah.
I'll put it just how you worded it.
Can I see a copy?
Yeah,
so I
can I
can
see
see
a
it?
copy too?
I know it's long. I just didn't want it to look like we were targeting it specifically, but we do need to be proactive instead of reactive and proactive at the same time. Even though we're coming up with districts with the land use plan and we're gonna tie zoning to those districts, I think this is important to tackle now as opposed to waiting, especially with the way that the attorneys worked in the past where we worked on solar panels and we still don't have a definitive approval on that, and that was almost a year ago now. So it might be good to get a start on this, assuming that it might take a year to get approval, for the expiration of the,
Yeah, well, this is only 12 months here. And we're not a fast board, as you can tell. Whether it's our fault or legal's fault, we're not fast, so we're limited in this.
I'm a little concerned about whether the language is specific enough or maybe too specific. Is this pausing all zoning permits on any kind of development?
No.
It's only pausing the Land Use Plan Act so we can concentrate on research, on impact and such for high energy use industrial businesses.
Well, the resolution also references House Bill 646, that they're doing a study as well. So if we're gonna rely on their study, does anybody know where that study stands right now?
It's in the early, it's still in the early phases. So hold on, just so, I just, so that I think I'm wanna make sure I'm clear. So the intent behind this is basically what we're doing with Crossroads. We're gonna pause what we're doing with Crossroads. So instead of having our bi-monthly meetings with Crossroads, we would just refocus on updating the zoning code at this point specifically to data centers. And then at some point in the future, once that's done, we're restarting with Crossroads. My only big concerns with that would be, if we are already under a contract with Crossroads via the township trustees, and the township trustees aren't on board with it, well, even if they are, or they're not.
That was one concern I had first.
I got that concern, and then my other concern is, well, do we have to pay them still, right? Do we have the power to pause it and not pay them? Because if we're on the hook to pay them, we're on the hook to
And I
pay them.
think we could do it simultaneously, but I didn't know, cause I don't wanna assign the districts without the zoning.
Yeah, I mean, so that's the whole which comes first, right? Zoning or districts, and that's what we've been going back and forth with Crossroads about, because,
And I just feel like the longer we wait,
Yeah.
something might not get approved by the time that expires. And then
Can they extend it?
they can, but it's at the trustee's discretion. So if they choose to, if they vote no on the extension of it, and we don't have zoning in place, then it's just,
I mean, to be fair, zoning, the zoning should be updated within the 12-month timeframe, whether it's by us or the
Should.
trustees directly, because that's, when you make a moratorium, you have to tie it to a corrective action, and that's the corrective action you tie it to. So, like, whatever that zoning is going to be, we really have to endeavor to get it done. So I think it makes sense to focus efforts on it. I just worry that, like I said, I just don't know about how the contract works. That's the only thing I don't know, right? I don't know if that's something, and I don't even know how we get insight from the trustees on that particular piece of it.
The last schedule she passed out exceeded 12 months, if you followed it all the way, so obviously
Okay.
it's not a year.
Well, no, theirs is not a year at all. Like, it's not gonna be done in a year. No.
If a data center came up, we could vote to recommend to the trustees not to approve it.
It can't come up in 12 months anyways, because there's a moratorium on it. It's just, we gotta get the zoning done sooner rather than later for it. Whether or not we run a parallel path while correcting that zoning and doing the land use plan, or just focus only on land. Right, so you're thinking that we do 2 meetings a month then to get the zoning done, or are we just doing 1 meeting a month, or what's the plan?
I mean, they approved us to have as many meetings as, well, I guess that was directly related to the land use plan though too, so.
Yeah.
There's a lot to tackle on a high energy use area. You know, per ORC, you're 1,500 foot from any property line. That's gonna be used up here.
Okay.
You can look it up. I looked it up the last 2 days here.
Yeah.
Then you gotta have a noise study before and then after. Then you gotta worry about your fuel storage. Is it underground? Because it's gotta be dual source. It can't just be a generator with natural gas. They don't operate like that, so it'll be just natural gas and diesel.
I disagree with that. Continue.
All hospitals, high energy stuff and computer AI stuff use dual fuel generators all across the country.
Is that a regulation?
No, but that's their preferred method, because if natural gas goes bad, they still got another backup. They run redundancy. I mean, there's just a lot to look at here. We got 12 months. I don't think I won't be able to afford, I don't know anybody be able to afford to put the time it takes here and the time it takes on land use at this current time, but I could be wrong, I'm simple-minded.
So I guess maybe we need to add to it, to ask for approval for additional meetings to, I mean, I don't know. I guess my intention here was, let's get it done sooner than later.
No, for sure. For
Um,
sure, but if it's gonna cut us down to 1 meeting a month for us to get it done, it just doesn't get done sooner. Because we're so long.
We already got 2 meetings, nothing says we can't just change the topic. And I'm sure with trustees' input, we could probably, I'm not gonna have a meeting every week. But 2 to 3 a month wouldn't be bad.
I think this is pretty technical.
Right, so
Yeah, I
we
don't think-
can't,
I don't wanna offend anybody, but I don't think any of us sitting here has the expertise to know
No, that's why
So we're
we
gonna
need to
depend on
dive.
other people.
Right.
That was also kind of why I went back to the House bill that was mentioned in that. I would assume that they're gonna be using experts. Who's, writing that?
I don't know if they'll know.
Let me see a copy of that. You got a copy?
When he has that, I'll ask for their copy. So was the only concern, Bruce, I guess, that you had was limiting the time that we spent on the land use plan with the,
Just whether or not, cause I think it needs, like, the zoning code, I think needs to get done first, I've said that from the beginning. My biggest concern, and that the data center part would be part and parcel of that, all the the entire industrial code needs to be done, not just the data centers. I was looking through it today, it's bad. But it's a situation where if we only focus on that, which we can, are we still on the hook to pay them $35,000 to $40,000 for the land use plan, or can we stop it at this point? That's all I don't know, cause I don't know what's taxpayers' dollars, it's my tax dollars.
right,
And I just don't know the answer to that.
and if we can't pause it, how do we find more time to work on it, I guess? I guess the biggest holdup is always the legal, it seems like, the legal review, I mean, something as simple as solar panels is taking almost a year, so I can't imagine what this would take.
Well, that's
you
what
know?
I'm concerned about the legal review. If they're writing legislation, how are we even gonna know if we pass legal review if we don't know what the legislation is? I think that's something we can look into. If somebody wants to do that, I can do it, find out who's actually heading that committee, maybe if we have somebody local.
Yeah,
If Brian Stewart would have any on that.
I think if I remember right, and I'd have to look, but I think the bill was specifically to develop a commission to discuss, like, to investigate the impacts.
Right.
They weren't actually, the legislation might be years from that, but I don't know if they put a time frame on it either, we have to look.
So they're basically doing what we're being asked to do.
So I
Only
guess-
they have the resources to do it.
It would appear that if we go down the current path, we're under an intergovernmental conflict. You should agree with this. In planning, lack of coordination is bad policy and potential legal risk. As it stands right now, this plan does not reflect coordination with the village, which is directly impacted if we continue down the land use plan.
Can you say that again?
This plan does not reflect coordination with the village land use plan, which will be directly impacted.
You're saying that our land use plan has to be done in conjunction with the village?
I'm just saying the state of Ohio says this plan is incomplete because it fails to coordinate with another affected jurisdiction.
Well, that's not in the Ohio Revised Code.
No, but this is a legal ruling.
Can you give me the name of that court case?
I just took snapshots, so we'll have to find a picture for that. That gives you the case.
So I did make the motion. I don't wanna go too far off track here.
There's a trustees meeting.
Well, that's why I made it, so if we make the motion and the motion passes, they'll get it, and then they can look at it, and they can come back with us and tell us if it's gonna impact the contract in some way, shape, or form.
What if we
We can,
word that as a recommendation to the trustees that we do that?
That's how our motions are, our recommendations. They can confirm or
Right,
do away with them.
correct.
So everything coming from the board is a recommendation to the trustees. You said a lot of words for a few sentences there.
now we're around.
I'm an English teacher here.
Just trying to make sure they understand where we're coming from.
Did you read this or make the motion?
I did both.
That's honest. That's all, yeah, I read it, right over his shoulder.
I'll second it. I mean, worst happens Thursday, they say no, do them both.
Or they give us a different direction on how they typically do it.
Do the roll call?
Yep,
Okay, Weatherhead,
yep.
Gordon?
Yep.
Duncan,
Yes.
Sizemore,
No,
Moore,
Yes.
my vote was just, I think we can do them both. I'm not saying it doesn't need to be done, I just.
And I think
that
we can
do
too,
them.
I just think that, I think we'd have to bring something to them to initiate them to allow us to have the time to do both,
Okay,
is where my head was at. And if that involves pausing, or if we can even pause the land use plan, then to get the extra time.
so either pause or approve more minutes,
Exactly.
or more meetings, I'm sorry. Okay. I definitely valid points.
And I'd kinda like to know what the average turnaround time is from a legal aspect and,
15 months.
okay. I mean, I just,
Should be less than a week.
that's what I thought, I mean, I work with lawyers every day and.
I mean, if we're making a motion for a recommendation, I think my recommendation would be, we send him some zoning, and if it doesn't come back fast enough, then we ask for a new specific zoning council, right? Because you can have a specialty council to review this, and we may need that. I don't know if this is, Pete obviously handles all of the township business, but zoning specialized, so maybe we need a zoning attorney to handle that review faster. So that may be a recommendation we need to make, so we can at least talk, or maybe, if Pete knows it's coming, maybe he can allocate resources for him to make sure it gets done fast, so we'll just have to cross those bridges.
I'll get there, but.
Okay, fair enough. What's next?
What is next? I guess new business, any new business?
Oh, man.
Would anybody like to bring up conversational or issues out of the attendees or the fellow zoning board members?
Did you guys have a chance to look at the survey from Molly?
Yeah, I guess we should dual track that, right, because we don't know how that's gonna go, so yeah. They didn't put the demographics together, what they said they would, like the email address request is at the end instead of the beginning, which I just think is a nuisance, like if you're gonna tell people, you might as well put them together. And then, I didn't like the way number 4 was worded, that was the one about the statement, it just didn't flow well.
I was trying to pull it up so I could look at it again. Cause I meant to check and make sure all of our questions were included in it. too,
They
'cause-
were.
Okay,
I double checked that, and the one is set so that if you answer yes, then it flows through to another set of questions, but if you answer no or no preference, then it doesn't.
okay, good.
I forgot to check if it had the public records.
It does. They
Did
actually
you see
have
anything about the vision speaker?
yeah, that's question number 4. That's the one that I don't like. The way it's worded just doesn't flow well. I guess is the best way to put that. It says Scioto Township will thoughtfully guide growth to align with the preservation of private property rights and the rural agricultural heritage while maintaining a high quality of life for future generations.
So that is what she gave us before, you said you didn't like the way that's worded.
Well, she added words to it, and it's just there's something there that's off. I don't think it's much, but I just read it quickly.
Yeah, I'm gonna look at the.
Yeah. Oh, I think it's to say the rural agricultural heritage of the township while maintaining a high quality of life for future generations. I think it's just a hanging part of the sentence. Either that or you have to say its rural agricultural heritage. Township's rural agricultural heritage. One of the way, but it's missing something. Otherwise, I don't mind it.
Yeah, it does read a little, I mean, I think you're right, I think township needs to be, well, it says site township at the beginning, but the sentence is weird.
Yeah, I think it should, to align with the preservation of private property rights and its rural agricultural heritage, or the township's rural agricultural heritage, would make sense.
I have to have Wi-Fi, I can't get anything here. Is it SI public, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Scioto, capital S, TWP, capital T.
Exclamation.
One exclamation or exclamation one?
One exclamation.
One, number one, exclamation. With capital.
Capital T. Capital T. Did you,
Exclamation mark.
are you guys as a,
I don't,
are you guys as a board going to come up with things that you've seen or see in the book that, like wording or anything that, or stuff that like Tom you've encountered or Trevor through the years that you would like to see changed or streamlined or fixed, or is there things that stand out? Is that something that you guys have talked about?
I think we've talked about it, we just
We
haven't
briefly
decided
talked
like
about, yeah.
the best way to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, other than just doing a revamp of whatever, we gotta probably have some points of something that
I
we've
thought that's what
seen.
we were gonna start on today. Do you have any written suggestions for problems that you've seen?
There's some wording like that probably should be changed that just contradicts, things that we don't do, permits for. So we wouldn't do permits for landscaping or patios, we only do permits for structures or support systems, or, we've never in the life of Scioto Township have done permits for demolition. But, you know, it's in there, alter or demo or whatever, and it's something that the county does permits for. We've never done it, we've never restricted that, and it's just, there's some wording that we hit that we need to just clean up.
We do.
Yeah,
I don't know why you should be able to find it, if your house is damaged 60%, we do grant a, permit to ensure they don't encroach on the, say it's too close to the road. They can build back, but they can't encroach, so there's a permit process for 60% of the house that's destroyed. That would be your demolition deal. There is that. That's been enacted 3 or 4 times through the years.
Are we gonna start? If we're gonna discuss it, we might as well know where we're talking about.
Let's finish the survey first.
Yeah.
Let's go through that, make sure we're okay.
Does anybody have any issues with, any other issues with the survey besides adding township and moving the demographics up?
I don't think so, I'm just gonna read through it real quick one more time.
So we're not doing a mailer then, just basically,
She's doing a mailer too.
Yeah, the mailer is the second email she sent.
yeah, but if that's this one, if you read it, it says that you have to call to get the paper.
It's either, we're not sending the paper copy out. You can request a paper copy and pick it up, or you can just scan the QR code. That's how, at least it's structured now. We didn't get any additional funds from the township trustees to promote it, so we don't have advertising dollars as far as I know.
I apologize for being absent last meeting, but did she say that one would go per household, this mailer, or is it one per?
It's not gonna be mailed, that's what we're saying.
Oh, not
We're
at all.
calling it a mailer,
I
but
thought
it's
you
not.
just said.
Well, it is, that right there, that little flyer is going to get mailed
Also, the
out.
front flyer, that's gonna be mailed in QR coded?
Yeah,
Okay.
but if
all
you want a full survey, that's the multi-page survey, then you have to call in and request
So
it.
the survey's not gonna be mailed.
Yes, the survey is actually
Sure.
accessible digitally unless you call in and ask for a paper copy. But that goes to every household.
Okay.
And then I think she asked whether or not we were gonna send it to every household in the township or only every household in the unincorporated township.
Okay.
So previously, the previous joint meeting, she had said unincorporated, then at the last meeting, it said also incorporated. I called Ron Jamin and said, you know, there was some discrepancy here. I think it's gonna be brought up at the meeting on Thursday. He said he personally wasn't, that he just wanted the unincorporated part of the township.
I think they give that discretion up to us now, right? So we should just make a decision and vote.
I'm okay with that if you guys are.
I mean, based on what they said at the township meeting, I think they give us the, you know, we're supposed to give them the direction.
Okay.
I mean, if she's sending out the mailers and it doesn't cost us any more money to send it to all of the township residents, and it's gonna be geolocated, so we know where they're at, it's just more data points. So, I'm 50-50 on that. Like, if we can filter it out and it's geolocated, I don't know harm, and it doesn't cost us any more because she's sending them. But,
Are we gonna sort out, are we gonna sort these data points and say this came from Commercial Point and this because?
She will, yeah.
yeah, that's what she said, she can do it for any area of the township, she can tell us if it comes from the Orion area, if it comes from close to the village.
Because we're getting into a majority rules versus a representative republic here when we're bringing in the
Yeah,
dense population.
that's a good point, because they're gonna impact ours and we're not gonna impact theirs.
Correct.
Correct.
Yeah. That's a good point.
As long as it's sorted,
And to be fair, the zoning doesn't impact the incorporated section at all, so I mean, it's just actually
No,
what we
but
have to
they're-
sort through.
Their land use opinions might influence the report to maybe not our best interest.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
and can it potentially create a conflict of interest? If one of us is doing business in the village that isn't affected as long as it's in the township, but now we bring the village opinion into the township, now we have a conflict of interest.
I don't see that.
Okay.
But it's just whether or not we wanna sort through the data or not, but to some extent, the zoning code doesn't directly affect them, it specifically says it's only for the unincorporated portion of the township.
So you should leave it at that.
I'll make a motion to only send the mailer to the unincorporated portion of the township.
Second.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Good call.
Yeah, doesn't make sense.
Does.
I'll warn them.
So now that we've made that, just from a procedural standpoint, who's passing that along to the trustees before the meeting?
Is that through Carla, does that go to the trustees?
Well,
or-
I think it has to be from us directly, like, who normally, like, when the recommendations are made, like,
Oh,
does the chair set it up, or how's that work?
good question.
Usually, it's always been the, young fellow back there.
Yeah, because he does, you do the updates at the trustees meetings,
Yeah,
correct?
my report, I've never given a report for you guys. It's just like the BZA, if the BZA has something they wanna tell them that somebody comes from the board, cause I don't represent you guys.
I always relied on, who's that one fellow that was here that got us in trouble a lot? Had glasses, lives over in Southern Point. Oh, you know, he was in Travis's seat. Famous.
Oh,
Went into barns, took pictures when nobody home.
Yes.
I don't do that.
Yes,
McFarland,
McFarland.
Husband, fine, yeah.
Yeah, I always ran everything through him.
Are you gonna be at the trustees meeting on
Yeah.
Thursday? Do you wanna do it?
Yeah. It's so exciting to sit back there and watch the meeting, but yeah, I'll interrupt it.
Cause otherwise, they won't get it until they see it, until the minutes or something, right? Cause I guess we have to tell them that and let them know about the recommendation, right?
Yeah, I think we're supposed to give them regular updates anyway, so. Keep them in the loop.
So could you write me a small synopsis on what motions we did, so I can have a sheet of paper of her?
And just send it
Just
to you.
bullet point, yeah. To my high health one. That way I'm protected by FEMA or HIPAA.
FEMA.
That was a what?
Okay, so everybody reviewed the survey so that we can let Holly know if we need any changes other than those two.
Yeah.
Okay, who's transmitting that information to Holly?
Vice Chair.
You made the
Email.
change in language. You changed the
Okay,
language.
I didn't know if we needed one point of contact or how.
It doesn't matter, I mean, I can email her if you want to send me the change.
Okay, that's perfect. Okay, and what about the flyer? Do we have any questions on the flyer?
Thought the flyer was fine.
I'm good with it.
Cool. Now we can talk about how we wanna go about the book changes, I guess.
We're gonna start with the data center since that's what, we're just gonna focus on that one for now.
I think that should be the first one that we need to do.
Like we focused on one,
Yeah.
solar.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's the chances of ringing his doorbell again, see if he's got that solar thing?
He said, the last meeting that we had that was brought up, and I asked him, and he said, give me a few, we're behind, give me a couple weeks. So I can reach out. I sent him an email Friday, so I'll reach out to him again, just to double check.
To a point that Bruce brought up earlier, I have thought, watching the meetings in the past, that we could benefit from a zoning, a council that specializes in zoning.
Would definitely make it easier to get things done faster, I mean, even with the land use plan, if we're gonna rewrite the zoning book and all has to have legal approval. I don't know that's gonna match Holly's timeline very well.
Well, I don't even know though, and I guess this is a question for the trustees, have they budgeted money, like a specific amount of money for zoning review associated with the land plan? Because I think that's gonna be a separate hourly
Well-
charge, and I just don't know what that looks like.
Unless that's included in the contract.
It
with
says
Holly,
in the
yeah.
resolution, legal counsel, in this moratorium.
Well, I
It
know
talks
that-
about legal counsel, legal review.
Yeah, I just don't know what's been, because obviously it's an expenditure, I just don't know how the attorney fees are budgeted, like, he charges by the hour, I'm sure, and just do they,
Well, I do know that we can, any person, BZA, zoning trustees, regardless, can actually call Circleville. I don't know if they have the expertise, but we don't have to automatically call Griggs, we can call Circleville.
I don't wanna say that.
Well, that's a different point, but
But yeah, it does say that during this moratorium, the Township Zoning Commission, planning consultants, and legal counsel shall study the impacts. So they've given us permission to have legal counsel, we just don't have a budget for it.
Okay.
Do you wanna bring that up in the meeting? A budget.
yeah, need something, I probably need to be armed with, some examples of cost. I don't know, Archer's not interested anymore, is he? Is he too busy?
He's in Benton County, he's a prosecutor in Benton County now, but I can ask him.
He seemed level-headed.
I don't know how he feels about traveling all the way up here.
Right.
I can ask him.
I don't know if we need someone that would travel, if it would be someone that once we promote something, like, once we figure out what we like, if we could just send it to them so they can tell us whether or not it's good, bad, or indifferent, right? Or is there any glaring mistakes or
Right.
technical issues?
It shouldn't really take that long to review.
A lot of times
guessing.
with the prosecutors, it will depend on if they have big murder trials, any kind of big drug, murder kind of trial.
I mean, in my experience, the prosecutors just don't do a lot of zoning work, so it's not, it's just not what they're there for.
What do you think, 8, 9 months to review?
That's what I would think, I mean, at our timeline. Can we make a recommendation that they look into?
I think I don't know. It depends on how long it takes them to get this one back. I guess, the solo one is one you guys have mentioned before, I haven't seen it, it sounds like it's been a while.
Last July.
That was back when Mary Hamilton was still here.
Do you know any attorneys? I mean, I know other attorneys that specialize in zoning.
I know some, attorneys that frequently represent municipalities.
Right, municipal law.
And townships, and they may be interested from a zoning perspective. Steve Teeter just started his own firm, and that's what he does, is he represents townships and municipalities, and I just don't know how much zoning work they're doing right now, but.
So in the ones I know, do more municipal incorporated. So, and there are differences.
He represents townships all over the state. Usually, yeah, we just have to reach out and see if there are definitely folks we can use. But who knows, maybe, like I said, Pete, now that he knows that this is coming, he may be able to
Just
allocate.
Bruce is the only attorney.
Pete may be able to allocate more resources, like, I mean, I think we should probably ask him, you know, and just specifically ask what's gonna be your turnaround time, once we present this new data center zoning section to you. What do you anticipate your turnaround time being, and if it seems to be too long for us, then we can see if anybody can go faster.
I think that's fair. It's just something to consider. I mean, you can rewrite a book, it might take us 7 years, but.
Took in a year and a half for Oregon. That was twice a month. And they had a foundation.
So the section that needs to be changed for data centers is the planned industrial section. But it needs a lot of changes other than just data centers. So our planned industrial section, basically allows anything that's not anywhere other in the book. I think that data centers and many of the other enumerated pieces in planned industrial district need to be changed to conditional uses to start with, not just uses as of right. Like a sanitary landfill, for instance, shouldn't be a use that can be used in a district. I think it needs to be another layer of review through a conditional use there, would make sense.
So you're saying, you said that all planned industrial should be conditional use?
Not all planned, so if you go like page 108 is where it starts at. So right now, there's no like, specific enumeration for data centers anywhere, but K under section 21061 says other uses of an industrial nature not otherwise provided for in this resolution, right? So it's kind of a catch-all for everything. But I don't think that you should use a catch-all in a straight zoning, you know, in a zoning like this. I think even though we call it a district, it's really a still a zoning classification. I think it should be a conditional use. Data centers, other uses should be a conditional use. Sanitary landfills, you know, quarrying or mining operation should probably be a conditional use. Those sorts of things. Not that they're not permitted, but that they have another layer of review associated with them before you move forward. Then you move them down there, and then we can talk about.
I think we need to keep the word data centers out of it, because there's 3 different types of data centers now, and they'll trip us up on that. So I think you need to do something like a high energy industrial.
Hyperscale.
Yeah.
Hyperscale's the big one.
Yeah, that's the crazy one. But then you got, what is it? You got regular data center, and then you got something a little smaller.
Enterprise.
And then you have
service.
the super size.
Hyperscale, enterprise, and service. Those are the 3 different sizes currently.
I think it should be all of them. Any of them should be a conditional
Oh, it
use.
should be, but you know, you'll have to, I would imagine the way Asheville's going, you're gonna have to be very specific unless you group all of those names under one heading.
Well, if you group them all under one heading, but you're addressing the specific concerns, it covers that, doesn't it?
I mean, I think they should just all have like a
All
strict.
data centers.
I mean, unless everyone feels differently, I think the idea is that we want very strict zoning and safety and health requirements, no matter what size
Right,
the data center,
yeah.
small to large, right? So, I don't, unless you envision something else, I wouldn't think that we would need like specific stuff for hyperscale or specific stuff for enterprise
I
or
agree.
et cetera, because
But what about if they rename this in 5 years to, you know, AI such and such, and leave the word data center out of it? Then we gotta revisit this again.
we don't, because that's why you put the other uses of an industrial nature.
But how are we gonna know every other use?
You're not, that's why it goes into a conditional use category.
Instead of like leaving this wide open, put it in conditional use.
Do we have to come up with a whole list of conditional use?
No, so that's the, well, you want, like, if you may want very specific things denoted, like like I said, right here, we have quarrying or mining operations. I think a quarrying or mining operation should probably be a conditional use. I don't think it should just be, right? Maybe it's okay on certain parcels that are zoned industrial, but.
And you could make it, like, you could put data centers, but then under that, you could also put high energy impact.
Yeah.
That too.
You know, we could also make that a conditional use.
I mean, to be fair, high energy impact, I don't, yeah, I mean, you can call it whatever makes people happy, it doesn't change the fact that they need to be highly regulated.
What's our ability of passing or requiring, you know, once we got it all listed under whatever division you want, when they fill their life cycle at 25 years or something, and I'm gonna pick on the hyper ones. When they move to another location, we're stuck with a building that can't be used because of the way it was built. It has, you know, 18 to 20-foot trenches, 1,000 feet long, they submerged everything. They're not gonna have that. Look it up, it's in every damn state.
I mean, have you, I'll be
They
honest,
submerge all these computers in water.
have you toured many data centers?
Yeah, I've toured 3 of them in
Okay.
Indiana.
Okay, so, I mean, the ones in Hilliard that I've been in aren't built that way. I mean, I think some of them are.
I don't know if that's considered a hyper, but even if it is,
Yeah, I think some of them, I mean, they're all built differently, but I don't know, I guess I don't know, I don't have an answer for you.
Connex is famous for trenching. Now, that's over there on that side of the river, but,
Connex? You said in Indiana?
yeah. By Crawfordsville. Well, it's in the Crawfordsville area, I don't think it's called Crawfordsville. But,
So you're talking about the use of the building afterwards.
right, so there's cleanup, there's this, there's that, because when they leave, they leave. You know, there might be battery storage, there might be this, there might be that. Shouldn't there be an ability for them to, if they're gonna open that, have some sort of bond that they have to give the township if they leave, and we have to correct that to return it back to halfway usable?
I mean, they're still property owners though, right? So
Right.
someone still has to own the property, so they're still responsible for that property.
But
Still is.
as you've seen, we can't hold anybody accountable for nothing, so they can just lay there for 30 years.
That's, well, I will tell you that townships can hold people accountable. They have to use the proper channels and procedures, which I think to date, the township may not have done, and hasn't been doing.
Right.
But that doesn't mean they can't, right? If a township, if there's a zoning violation, there's a method through the civil courts where the township says, Pete or whoever they're representing, file a lawsuit to get me access and get me an injunction to fix this problem. Like, so there is a mechanism to do it, we just don't use it here. So
Right.
that's different than not being able to.
I think that was that information that really kind of is what prompted me to get on this board, saying that there was nothing that we could do. There is.
I've just never witnessed it, and I've been on there a long time, but I've never witnessed it.
There's an
Now, I'm not
expensive
saying there
element.
isn't a path, I'm just saying I've never witnessed it in Scioto Township.
Well, I think maybe that is a recommendation we should make for our solicitor to give a step-by-step process for the enforcement mechanism. Because I think that's, like, there's definitely a path forward to enforce zoning.
He's the one who said it's not enforceable.
Well,
So could you, I mean, back on the topic of what Tom was talking about, could you make them have a decommission plan where if they stay out of service for X amount of time that?
I genuinely don't know. You do see that with like wells, like the ODNR can put that in place with a well, like if a well has to be abandoned. But that's not a vested property right that someone owns continuously, it's a right to drill a well. So it's a little different because what they don't wanna do is burden the underlying landowner who has no experience or expertise to plug and abandon a well, right? Because they're a huge risk and nuisance when they're not utilized. I don't know about a building being able to bond or require some sort of decommissioning. I'm not sure.
That might be something that you're gonna look at with this House bill too, is they study that.
I mean, I think if you would see that, it would be used in all kinds of industrial, you know, because they, I mean, obviously data centers are hot button topics right now, but you have wanted that for years, and power plants and steel and all of those, and I mean, it's never,
true.
it's not utilized as far as I can tell, or had ever been utilized, so I guess I just don't know, I've never seen it.
Would it be the same thing that's attached to the solar, the mega solar fields where they say 10 years and they're gone and then they just got leave that, those have things attached to them on cleanup, but still it's not complete cleanup.
RCA, when they left Circleville, that was all left.
Yeah.
There
Just
was a
abandoned.
lot of cleanup that the next owner had to do, and they were stuck with it, that's why it sat vacant forever.
But that's a private owner.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying, like the private ownership has to, I mean, it's no different than what they're doing.
Like a deed restriction.
Yeah.
Or.
Which I understand what you're saying, but
My gut reaction is no, but I don't know for sure, that'd be a question you'd have to ask whoever our attorney, you know, ask.
Maybe tied to health and safety. I don't know.
Yeah, I
It
don't,
probably already is through the EPA.
I would think that.
yeah, I mean, cause if it's like a brownfield site, or they have,
Include the word.
they have something of that issue, then, you know, that's an EPA regulation.
of course you got Old Mead and Chillicothe, that's a disaster right now. I was gonna bring up Piketon, but that's government, they can do what they want.
We had the GE plant in Circleville, right? The new owner of that had to spend a whole lot of money to clean up and then tear down the contaminated mercury section.
Mhm.
Those sorts of things. So it usually falls on the new owner, right?
They buy it at a discount for that reason, quite often.
I think, I don't know. If
I
it's
know
a-
we can't protect nothing, I'm playing devil's advocate on a lot of this conversation.
Yeah, no, I think the township's recourse would be if it was a blighted area, right? You do have the option as a township or a municipality, if something is considered or deemed to be a blighted area, i.e. it's run down, like you're saying, then you can take it via eminent domain, and then it's your property, and you can do with what you please. But, I don't know if you can bond it. That's a question. But you can definitely attach regulations related to noise dampening. And we already have in our zoning code, right, it says you can't.
We have that, but let me ask you that, how do you ever enforce that when there's no baseline?
Well, that's because it's not drafted properly, right, like
A baseline.
you need instead of, you know, a qualitative measure saying, oh, I can hear it across the property line, like, I can't hear crap, like, if you put me there, it can be really loud, but if you put someone that has good hearing, it's a whole different ballgame, right, so you need to put some sort of a decibel level in there that someone can go and stand at the property line and measure it, and you know where it is.
A lot of
So
law
it's not
enforcement
really true.
agencies have decibel meters, don't they, that track and voice. They have decibel meters where they can go out so that they can enforce, I mean, if it is written properly, they can enforce it.
We have to figure out what that looks like, but that's where everybody's doing studies to figure that out. And you could look, I mean, for years, you've had those natural gas compressor stations on pipelines are really loud, so a lot of townships will put in place decibel ordinances because of those, because these are basically just big trains, big engines, and so we could start there and make sure that that as a, you know, as a baseline, there are places we can look to see what those decibel readings need to be like. I'm sure that some township somewhere has imposed them on a data center already, and we can figure out what they've.
I forget what we did, this was way back in Mike's day, but that helicopter company moved in and they had to do something with noise. Because of they run around killing vegetation around power lines and
Mhm.
stuff. And, they did something, I can't remember, I think it was third party, I think they cut the cost, it was third party, it was turned into the trustees, and then there was rules made against it, now they never come close to encroaching it. But what worried me was they picked the third party, so, you know, how reliable do we think that is, but there is a process like that, I only remember at one time, and it's right there at 316 104, where that old race car track was, and then that helicopter guy bought it.
Now, that doesn't, I mean, I read through this pretty completely, I don't think it's in here though. So is
No,
that
it
something?
probably isn't, I just know it happened.
That we did something, but then it didn't get
Right.
legislated, it didn't get codified anyways. Okay.
So what we're thinking about moving forward, and the number.
I mean, I think that definitely, you know,
You'd have to take an average, I would think, just what it is, whatever the average is, you'd have to
Yeah, they
take it.
restrict the hours too, you can have different
Right.
noise levels at different.
Well, they want you to do it morning, noon, and night, so to get a ballpark.
And in something like this, it's gonna run 24/7, like, it's gonna have to just be, you know,
Right.
something.
And with all the products, I'm sure they can dampen noise.
Yeah, no, they can use upgraded equipment to dampen noise, you can put up sound barriers, you can build mounding around it, there are all kinds of ways, whatever we set that noise level to be, which we just have to, like I said, figure out what that needs to be and then put in, you know, into the zoning code that they have to abide by it one way or another. I once had an engineer tell me there's nothing that can't be engineered, it just depends on how much money it costs.
Right.
Right? I mean, you can turn coal-fired power plants cleaner than what comes out of your car. So, guessing, it's very expensive, but you can do it. Because that was the thing I was saying, that, you know, we already have air pollution requirements in the code for industrial flex, but again, it's not strong enough, right? We need more. Because the air pollution doesn't actually come from the data center itself, it comes from the ancillary power generation. Whether that's, they have a behind meter power station, or like you said, they run diesel generators. Now, the reason I was saying that, I think the newer processes in a diesel fired generator is.
Oh, they're better, I got brand new ones there at Grant, but it's still, you know, with Buster and everything else, there is still stuff that you gotta pay attention to.
Yeah, no, for sure.
They let the sumps go bad and this and that, what contaminated the field, you know, and it can happen within an hour. I'm sure they're very precise, I'm sure they do this and that, but accidents happen or we wouldn't have rules and cleanup for a reason.
No, they do.
So,
They do. I was just saying, I think a lot, like, I would say that maybe diesel powered isn't something we wanna allow, right? Do we want diesel generators on a high scale? That might be something that we actually wanna take out of our zoning, because those do pollute a lot. They have alternatives, they have, you know, we just have to see if we want to allow any of those. Or what those look like.
and I'd like to see there's a place, where's that, down in Southern, no, is it? There's a place now that they've converted a building that sat stagnant on a strip piece of money, but it's in Ohio. Can't think of the name of it right this second. One of the guys running for election was sitting there making a video on it. I can't think of what it is, but they had a line of generators, but it wasn't that loud, but they were dual fuel, but I don't know what fuels they were. But all your hospitals are dual fuel. They won't rely on one fuel source. And I'm hearing the more important AIing so kids, they're not relying on one fuel source.
So you mean, not just, they want power, and then they want two separate redundant backups?
They want,
They're
like this
normal
building,
electric, and
South
then.
Central,
Mhm.
then your generator needs to be able to run on two different things.
Yes.
Whether it's coal and natural gas, or natural gas and diesel, they want a backup for the backup. I didn't realize it was, I understand people's lives, you know, I can understand that rule, but this new, where everybody needs it in 3 minutes, I guess they consider themselves just as important.
Well, that's the whole, you look at 4 phones out on the table, right? None of them work without
That'd be nice.
What about the lighting around those?
them. Yeah, so,
There are rules about, they have to be focused completely down,
yeah.
but still, you still got light pollution.
Yeah, so what we have is, in our industrial code is, like you said, light completely down, but we can actually scale that to a specific amount of lumens, the
Yeah.
halo that those encompass, so that can get much more specific for an industrial use to make sure it's not encroaching out. It doesn't always protect it from sight lines from miles away, because you still see a pinprick of light. But you can definitely get more concrete than what we have now.
Are
Yeah,
you
there's-
familiar of the location of one that you would consider an example of one that is low impact?
I mean, lower, I think they continue to get lower. They just built some new ones south of Hilliard. They're, the 2-story ones are right off of 270. that facility is going in.
Isn't there one over around Reckenbacker, some big building?
I mean,
It's
there's,
just got built
the
here. at
Google complex is right north of Scioto Downs. It sits off Route 120.
I've never been by it, but
Well, that, I would not consider that to be a low impact facility.
No.
They're very much a hyperscale high impact facility. That's why they put it where they put it, and that's how they zone it, but I would not consider that to be a.
well, that would give us an example of bad.
Yeah, I mean, there are definitely things, I mean, so that's, other things to look at are their cooling, right? How's it going to be cooled, right? Because there are different cooling mechanisms, and some of them generate a lot of steam, right? And it can look like a power plant, you know, the equivalent of coming out of a big smokestack and, you know, a power generation plant. So looking at those sorts of things, so I think all of those need to be looked
I
at.
think they run, I've heard, I've never been by it, but I heard they run a boatload of cooling towers, which is, you're seeing evaporation.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think if that's the only water they're using, you know, that's a lot of evaporation to equal 5 million gallons a day or something.
So most
That's a lot.
data centers don't run 5 million gallons a day.
No,
Most of them are.
I'm going on the stories now. of what
Yeah,
you're hearing.
yeah, so I mean, I will tell you that most of them, and it varies by region, right? Because the
Oh,
hotter it is, the more water you use to cool. But in this area, at least what I have seen and what the data shows is that they use 1 million gallons a day, that's what everyone hears. They use 1 million gallons a day, 3 to 7 days a year on the hottest days of the year. Most of the time it's recirculated, but when it gets bad, they have to dump it and they have to refill. So that's where the huge portions of use come from.
I guess like I mean, that can refuel the water that's going out contaminated.
Well, that's where we have to be careful, like, what do you put in it? And do you mix it with ethylene glycol? Do you have, you know, what's in it? And making sure that we have legislation to make sure we're
to
doing
pick
this.
that up, you know.
No,
They're not
it's,
paying Safe Harbor to come pick that
I
up.
tell you,
you know.
hospitals dump
It's-
right in the drain.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta, well, I mean, they could have to pay Safe Harbor to pick it up if that's what's in the zoning code, right? It just depends on what's there.
Like, no.
Hey. Business is expensive, right? I mean, these facilities cost $1 billion to build, so.
And they're throwing money right and left. So obviously there's a lot of money in it, but I don't think we ought to base our premise on allowing it just so we can get money for
No.
the short term.
No, I mean, like I said, it's one of those things where, that's why I think it needs to be a conditional use for sure. But I think all industrial, like most of the industrial uses, we also don't need, you know, a landfill going in down the road. And, you know, it should be a conditional use, it should have the same sort of regulations for groundwater contaminations, which is what, you know, whether or not the cooling water gets dumped. All of those things need to be looked at really closely.
Aren't a lot of those things already regulated
They
at
are.
the state level?
They are, oh, you definitely have that stuff regulated at the state level, but I think the state level is the minimum, right? And if we want something more specific, we can ask for something more specific.
So we can,
Well, any code is the minimum. Your
Right.
electrical code, your fire code, that's the minimum. Nothing says you can't go better than what code is.
I completely agree. There's a reason, you know, if you drive to New Albany, there are warehouses all over that area. They are gorgeous warehouses, you don't even realize that they're alive, because their zoning code require it.
Yep.
And there's no reason that our zoning code can't require a data center to be really pretty if they put one in.
Aren't they putting one in over there too, or not? A data center around that New Albany area somewhere? But it's not built or anything.
There are like 5 or 6 on the books. I think there are 20 some odd built in central Ohio, last I saw. But there's a lot, like I said, there's a lot of industrial stuff coming around, right? But I mean, you've got Andrew going in a township next door, so who's to say that a lithium battery manufacturer doesn't wanna come in the side of the township to supply batteries for the drones, right? And if that's the case, well, there's a lot of environmental contamination associated with that. We just need to be prepared for any of that. Not to say that they can't be great opportunities and we shouldn't allow them, but we need to make sure that they're done. You know, we have 3 pages or 4 pages of zoning for our planned industrial districts. It's just not enough on something that can be so impactful.
well, I think a lot of that premise was that we didn't have the water and sewer, so they weren't coming here anyway. I think we do have water and sewer that's not utilized.
Where there's a will, there's a way.
Yep.
Like I said, when you throw enough money at something, you put in your own wells, you come up with your own treatment facilities, whatever, you know, needs to happen. You might not see it for a residential subdivision,
Or something like that.
I wonder why they don't do that, why they're not doing their own wells and septic.
Let's just
Yeah,
say they did
sewage
one north of the long runner for north of the township. And Columbus supplies it. And then Columbus extends that suit, doesn't that kind of destroy what we got now because we weren't able to block city sewage, so now they can just kind of run rampant?
You mean like if it was in like the southern Franklin County where the grocery
Right, and
area
then just
outside
rip
of us?
right in there.
I mean, so yeah, I mean, so you figure if it's there or it's in Brush Point or it's in the township, if it's over in that area, right, it's pulling off the same aquifer. So from a water perspective, it's like the Google data center, they're pulling off the same aquifer, right? Because all of Columbus pulls off of the Taves aquifer. That's why they bought well ground all throughout this area. But yeah, they
But I was
go-
thinking about the sewage, not treatment or anything, but piping.
Mhm.
Was it you that said they couldn't, once the pipe dictates where you can grow or whatever? Maybe it wasn't you.
No, septic dictates
Septic.
a lot of growth because it's a health
Right.
issue, so yes. It's easier for any municipality to annex and go around and force an unincorporated, not force them, but they don't really have much say because all they can do is say, we're making it healthier. It's more safe, it's healthier because you're off the septic and you're on public sewer. It's always been on.
Oh, okay.
But usually I may have said that that's what controls growth, right? Like people
Maybe
typically,
it was, yeah.
people typically want that, right? And I think for years that was the case, that's what people typically wanted. Utilities are what drive development, but now you have, you know, the state legislature now, in the lab, which is what they're doing with over Nashville, right, is behind the meter power generation, which never used to be allowed. It wasn't even contemplated, 5 years ago that you could build your own power plant to power your own facility, but now you can do that not just for data centers, but that goes for if they wanted to build an industrial complex that was, previously in an area that it couldn't have because it wasn't close enough to power distribution, they could theoretically build their own power plant to power a new logistics center, right?
Now, what regulations are there? Do they gotta be turbines or can they just be anything?
That's all through PUCO, but most of them are combined cycle power plants, but they have other options too. There's balloon power cells, which are the hot button topic in Hilliard right now, for folks, so there are other options, but what it means is that there are different things that when this code was written and when most codes were written, it just wasn't contemplated because it wasn't something you could ever think about doing. You got your power from AEP transmission and that was it. And now there are other options. So the same thing, if that happened to power, who's to say that's not gonna happen to water or sewer for these kind of
Right,
industrial
yeah.
complexes? Because when it becomes a necessity and it's $1 billion business, they find a way to make it happen. I mean, they're literally building, to run $1 billion data center complex at Edgecon, I would assume that power plant is gonna cost somewhere between $500 and $800 million to build. So they're literally building their own power plant. You can do that, you can figure out a whole lot of other things. So we just have to be, think about that and make sure, you can't future-proof a zoning code, like I said,
No.
things change.
And we don't wanna deny it, we just wanna make sure that we stay healthy and safe.
Well, what you can do is do some blanket statements like must use the latest technology available to implement to mitigate noise pollution or to mitigate air pollution, right? And then when they bring in that site plan, which is the next step in that, then they do have to show us, and they have to prove that this is the latest and greatest technology, right? That kind of zoning can be enforced. So that's something we can think about, because obviously, again, we're not the technical experts, right?
Right.
It's gonna be really hard to know exactly what decibel level, but what we could also do is write the zoning code such that it says you must mitigate sound levels to the sound levels in the neighboring area before you came, and you must use technology, the latest technology to do it, and then in the application process, we force them to prove that is what happened, right? So that's something we can look into.
So it goes back to the utilities thing, if they wanted to use their own utilities, what would that do to the aquifer around the surrounding neighbors? Like if they drill their own well And that drops the aquifer for everybody else around them, and they have to dig their wells deeper.
They're responsible.
They would
Well,
have to be responsible to pay for everybody's.
It really depends, again, it depends on what you're talking about from an aquifer, right? So most of us aren't in the Tays aquifer, right? Tays aquifer's about a river, we're all in different water fields, well fields, like my one of those doesn't know the Tays aquifer, right? But yeah, if, you know, we can, if you impact it, you gotta fix it.
I know the dump messed up something, and they paid for Grove City City Water to go to all those houses because they messed up the groundwater.
Well, that was before they put those liners in. That's why they had to put that liner project in, because it leached toxic chemicals into the groundwater supply. And then that's why they had to dig that dump up. And it took like, what, 10 years to get that, and they put that plastic liner underneath of it. But
We
yeah,
had a property on the other side of the river. Columbus was coming down to bring sewer line, water line, and obviously they were putting it so deep that they had to bring around well testers to test everyone's water before they dug and then after they dug. There were a few problems that did arise from it, so, you know, holding them accountable is definitely something that has to be.
Those were deep, around Lockport, that little village,
Yeah, they were.
that was deep. It's like, gee, man.
that's usually like an easement requirement. Right?
Exactly.
If you're gonna, that gets put into the easement. So we'd have to figure out if there's a way we can put it into the zoning code, maybe test beforehand and test after, and then figure that out. But
Yeah.
it's definitely something that should be looked at.
This is all good, but
How do we move forward?
Right, yeah.
I mean, I think from, at least my plan is to look, like I said, data centers aren't new, especially in
No,
areas
no.
like Licking County and Hilliard. I'm sure they have zoning regulations we can pull and start to look at as a what do you have and what do you like and what do you think needs to be stronger or what's missing. That's at least my thoughts, and I don't know.
What's the big deal at Mount Orb right now?
I'm not sure.
there's a huge data center being talked about there, it's like.
They're in World War III, yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of animosity towards data centers from folks. I mean, it just for, I mean, whether
It's actually made news, and it's like, wow, I
Yeah.
wonder what's messed up there. I think we ought to look
They
at
don't
bad
recognize
and look
it.
at good.
yeah, no. I mean, it's not built there yet, right? This is
No.
whether or not it goes in, so we don't even know what's good or bad from one there. I think that, you know, again, there's arguments on both sides of the aisle for why they're good and why they're bad. That's what we're dealing with in Nashville, right?
So yours in the city.
I think it's either Columbus or Hilliard. I mean, the ones that I know, literally, they sit across the street from a subdivision, right off, like, 270 comes up as you're coming up to Cemetery Road. Once you pass Roberts, they sit on the left-hand side. And there's like a subdivision over here,
That's a weird line, who there was Hilliard.
and then it's right there. I'm not sure. I know Hilliard's the one that gets the tax benefits, so I'm assuming it's the city of Hilliard.
Because I do know their attorney, I know the city of Hilliard's attorney,
Yeah, so it'd be a good question to see what complaints and issues they've had.
I could ask.
I know they recently had a big uproar about, they wanted to power with those, with bloom power cells, which
Yeah.
is a new technology, and, you know, it basically converts natural gas without pollutants, but it converts, anyways, it's a new technology, so people are nervous about it. So I know that was a big issue that they had, but I don't know what other issues that may have popped up from Hilliard.
Now, it flared up, but then it died down, so it's like, okay, maybe.
Well, I think, again, you're always scared of the unknown, right? And then you get nervous, and then you find out the details, and things work out.
So I'm real visual and try to do that in the classroom as well. So Wendy, maybe a few meetings back, worked on a purpose statement, worked on the application rules and limitations, all that. We kind of dropped that ball, am I correct on that? We never
No, Holly
really-
actually wrote a condensed
She
one.
did, okay, she did, okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, and she-
So then are we moving on, like, do we have, I mean, we went obviously due to the moratorium and data centers, and we're looking at planned industrial. Are we skipping a lot of this to do that first? Is that what we're really saying, so that we,
Yeah,
or do
kind
we
of.
wanna have a game plan for the next meeting to cover these 2 pages, or this section, or this, you know,
I think we start with this section, since
you wanna go there first?
it's
Okay.
relative,
I agree, I just wanna,
yeah.
And then Travis, could you start making a list of issues you've come up with? You know, wording and stuff, so as we're fighting through this, we could keep the agenda going rather than saying, okay, where do we start now?
I've asked Terry to come up with stuff too, since he's
Okay.
been here over 20-some
Yeah.
years, and he's ran into things, that's what I was trying to get, if we could get something together, then we'll have something to give you
I mean,
guys.
the book's weird, but interpretation's where we get in trouble.
It is that, exactly, and that's the hard part for me, is I can read it this way, and then I get told 3 different other ways, and Bruce knows how everybody, it's just hard. You think you got it right.
It breaks up the monotony.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
was easy.
it makes your mind right, that's
Yeah.
for sure. Or it doesn't.
So I think we got a good base plan. So we're wanting that. That seems to fit the best, is what you're saying. Is any, should go in planned industrial, or do you say it should go somewhere else?
Well, my thoughts are, the whole planned industrial section makes me nervous, right? So we put it in the planned industrial section, right, and make it a separate conditional use. But most of what we're gonna come up with, there might be some things that are very specific to those big power users, but a lot of it would apply in general, like whatever we're gonna come up with from a noise mitigation perspective or from a
Right, some
groundwater
of that,
protection
yeah.
standard, like it's gonna apply to all of the industrial uses, not just
Right.
data centers. So I think that's why it makes sense to do it there. That way we can fix the problem for all of them. Like, you know, I haven't looked at the zoning map. I don't even know if we have any PID sectors out there right now. We may not, right? This may be something that,
Right, but
A
we
little bit
would
of a
have
good point,
to if
but-
they, of course, could they swing around that and go special use, or would that be kind of knocked out?
special use doesn't include industrial uses.
Okay.
Not that I can tell anyways. That was this section, I think. This one?
But if there is something that falls under a different section, we can always say C section, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, I didn't see anything, the industrial section was pretty all encompassing for those things. Yeah, the special uses were, you know, prisons, cemeteries, churches, schools, community buildings, commercial and rec centers. It was all very specific. It doesn't really have anything that I think would fit with of anything super concerning.
So our current planned industrial just has like light manufacturing, you know, not heavy.
Well, it says light manufacturing there, and then you come down here, sorry, next page. So that's not the one I have. Do we not have the most current one?
I don't know, this is I believe this is the most current. What's the date on yours this is October 2019, last update.
This says up there, October 2019. But so my planned industrial district, right, 21061, oh, there it is. It's just on a separate page.
Oh,
Other
okay.
uses of an industrial nature not otherwise provided for in this resolution. So basically, any industrial thing falls under that, even though it's not specifically enumerated. And that's why I think like that should definitely go into a conditional use, right? Like we shouldn't just allow anything. We should say these things are okay in an industrial area, but if you want one of these, you gotta come back and you gotta talk to us about it. And you gotta make sure it makes sense. Like I said, an industrial layer of approval.
Is that's like the blanket district pretty much, cause somebody called the other day and was looking to buy land, you know, and he has 5 roll-offs, and I was like, I'm going through there like, so then I go and just look and see what Mitch has and what he's in, and there is no, like they're in conditional use or uses in special use, it's listed. And under planned business district or planned industrial, it doesn't really say, it just, well.
What's it zoned right there at the
helicopter?
Mitch's first little garage that he sold?
Oh,
What's that plan?
I don't know, he's planned
Road
industrial
lines,
now, but it is,
Right there at the crossroads.
yeah.
That was a
Going
Keeper
forward.
Hill property years
Yeah,
ago.
purple. It's know what color that is, but it looks plain industrial also.
Okay.
And then that's what he is here too. But you read it and you wanna see, does this business fit there, does that business, and if it doesn't, it's just like, well, it's a cover, or it covers it all. So I see that part.
So the 5 tow trucks basically, is he gonna have a holding yard as well?
He's not gonna have anything as far as I told him. I mean, I don't see where it would fit in anything, it'd have to be rezoned, you'd have to go through a process.
Yeah.
But the only ones that would be something like that, he said roll off, so I'm guessing like what Mitch has, a business, and he said it's just him, but he just has 5 roll offs. So it's a single individual that would have a business on over 5 acres.
Seems like it would be a commercial district issue.
Well, it doesn't fit under that, but it does fit under the planned industrial, because it's all the other ones are planned industrial. It seemed like everything I saw in their general commercial district was all storefront, store this, store that, beauty.
Do they like keep the cars there?
It's just a dumpster, roll-off dumpster.
Oh, dumpster, okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about
Yeah.
roll-offs.
I did
No,
too.
no, just the dumpster, roll-off dumpster, 5 dumpsters, 1 truck type of thing.
Oh, I think somebody else is doing that around here, where you can rent a dumpster.
It's Mitch, Scott.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
I've been trying to rent one for 2 weeks.
from Mitch.
Yeah, oh, Mitch, man,
Mitch.
they
Oh,
deliver.
yeah, they'll bring
No,
you right
waste
away.
management didn't call back,
Yeah.
local waste services didn't.
Go
call
local,
back.
right here,
Yeah,
Mitch.
Mitch will be
I need
there.
his number.
I forget what it's called
I've
now.
been trying to clean out barns.
Dumpster dudes,
Yeah,
dumpster dudes, I think.
yep,
I have it too.
man, they're clean, they set them exactly where you want them and out they go.
Wouldn't that, maybe equipment rental or leasing?
Yeah, I guess
But it says no outside storage of equipment.
right, and then you have restrictions on fences and blockage and signage and lightage and.
Well,
Wouldn't that fall under your contractor equipment and storage yard provided adequate fencing and screening
That would-
devices?
That would be your restrictions after whatever you zoned it under, yeah.
And then down here it says storage of recreational vehicles, boats, trailers, construction equipment, and similar vehicles. I mean, it doesn't specify anything else, it just says similarly.
It's like a catch-all,
Yeah,
yeah.
it doesn't specify anything.
well, you figure we've had zoning since 1954, and we're still running into these problems, so we're gonna fix what we can, but 10 years down the road, we're gonna be like, we need to do this all over, look at this crap. I mean, it's just the nature of this book.
It's something every day different or weird.
It's basically, it's whatever you want to allow. I mean, you have to set those standards and, like, we're not doing this and that's it.
Yeah, that's why I was like, that plain industrial is kind of a blanket, like, and it just fits, like, cause it's not individually.
Well, I mean, I don't think you technically wouldn't allow for a doctor's office, I don't think.
No, because that would fit under their general commercial. Yeah, anything that doesn't fit under the storefront, the beauty salon or whatever is just right there.
Well, I think we got a plan. Then we got a boatload of work. We gotta add 15 pages to a 4-page section.
I don't know, I'm looking like 40 pages.
40.
Well, I was gonna make the font a lot smaller.
Oh,
So you can't
we're getting older, I need to see bigger.
I have a couple of zoning regulations from different places. I'll have to see which ones. I'm assuming one was Canal, and maybe, I don't know if we ever got the one for New Albany, but I can look and see. And then maybe we can
That would
copy
be
those,
nice, yeah.
because there's different areas where they're really picky about stuff.
I've got New Albany's up looking at it right now.
I looked at canals before, I mean, some of their stuff was okay, but maybe.
I can't
Jackson,
remember which one I have. I have a
Jackson
couple.
Township just redid theirs just south of us, and they did a planned development, and they have the industrial, and they have all that in their new one. I was told the other day. and Holly and them did that one. But it's a rural, very rural, but they did set aside certain places for development, and it looked like it was written pretty good. I didn't go in depth, but.
I guess that's another question I have, Travis. Do you know what that rewriting of the zoning looks like? And then is it just we're gonna?
When I got hired with interest and not experience, and I'm not experiencing something new every single day. I honestly don't know.
I know it's been explained to us that they're gonna hear us out, but they never actually said like what happens. Like, do they just rewrite it all, put it in front of us, we review it, and then that's it?
I think
Yeah, that's bad.
it'll be a step-by-step thing, and there'll be a review, and then.
Well, I don't necessarily know it's bad, right? So like, basically, the way I see it is they have a bunch of canned zoning regulations that they've utilized in various places, and you know, some places are more restrictive than others, right? So we say we want a restrictive industrial district. They could provide that to us, and then it's not to say that we just approve or deny it. We can use it as a stepping stone to fix what we want, right?
Template.
Alternatively, we can look at New Albany or Hilliard or those other places ourselves and do it, right? So it's, you know, utilizing them to do it, or doing that legwork ourselves.
Yeah, I guess it's not bad. I guess the concern was they'll just drop it all at once, and then, you know, how do we review it from there? Do we make a section by section?
I mean, that's what we would have to do, right? Now, the problem with that is it's definitely gonna take longer. And here's the thing, like, we may do a lot of work, but, I mean, if our path forward is still to use them, because that's the township trustees have contracted for them, and eventually we're gonna get back to using them, right? Or we can keep using them now. We may take a lot of efforts to redraft our data center planned industrial district zoning code, only to figure out in 18 months that, well, needs change, right? And that could happen. But it's one of those things where we have a 12-month moratorium, we've been given a 12-month directive to enact stricter zoning, and you can't really wait to do it.
But on the plus side of that, now I'm not playing devil's advocate, I'm playing the plus side. The research that we would do would allow us to dissect what they produce or propose better than current state. So I don't really see a good or a bad with this, but I think we need to really target this and let them come along, but, because like I said, we got 11 months now, so. And we gotta do something, I mean, with some investigative, stuff from all of us, some research, some visiting other sites, surely we can find a baseline that we don't wanna prevent it, but we also wanna protect ourselves.
New Albany's data center regulations are under, get this, limited general employment.
Wow.
So if you look it up in their zoning code, that's what it's under. They have, so they have like an AI section where you can ask it questions, and and it directs you to that, and that's what it came up, limited general employment.
That's new, I mean, I'm sure there's
This is some
something.
high-tech website here.
And you can thank their NCA for that.
New Albany has all kinds of restrictions, it's craziness there.
But they still have billions of dollars, you can do it.
Maybe what we try to do then is come up with something rough for Holly the next time we meet with her, and just say, this is something we're working on, you guys are gonna do it. See if that's what they
Can't
do.
change our mission, no.
Well, no, but I'm fine with that.
No,
Yeah.
How many meetings do we have between now and Holly's meeting?
It's just
this
I
one.
thought we had one more.
Yeah.
It's coming in May.
Oh, we should,
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes. Well, we should have 2 more then.
Yeah.
We should have two more.
Yeah. We'll be prepared for that. I mean, I think to be fair, let her bring something too, but you take tonight and then 2 more meetings. I'm not saying we'd have anywhere near close, but
No.
we'd be better prepared.
Strive for greatness. I want the past to
Don't
be
be a
in the future.
defeatist.
I got a hospital to build, my time's stretched. Well, Well, we've talked that to death. Has anybody got anything else?
Now, when's our next, what are the next, so,
The 21st would be the next scheduled meeting, right? What would be one set from here till then?
We're doing
The
2 a
21st.
month.
The 17th of March, and then that's the third Tuesday,
yeah, I think it's my Thursday.
would be the next,
And our
whatever.
next one would be the 30th, because we're doing additional meetings,
Okay,
so. Or no,
31st.
31st.
okay.
So we're doing one on March 31st,
What's that?
March 31st.
Yes,
Is that gonna be a 6 or 7?
7. Unless everybody wants to at 6, it's up to the board.
Well, I will be returning back from Washington DC in March 8th.
Aw.
So,
Just
see
drive
ya.
You might
fast.
need a break.
We'll see you.
What's your point?
I don't know what time we'll pull in. It might be 7, it might be 6.
Bring him, it's a good civic lesson.
What is your-
6:30.
Oh, no, I heard that all day today.
Just have him stop here for a civics lesson.
Oh, that's absolutely. I'll
Day lesson of some
The
kind.
day it's still their spring break, I thought they'll be walking zombies. You know? As you remember, I was
Yeah.
retired. So I know I probably will be infield now. So,
Is it 6 o'clock one?
yeah, I don't know what, the 31st, yeah.
I think he's probably out the 31st regardless. It's kids take a toll.
It beats you up. So, I mean,
So 7 on the 31st then?
I'll try to make it, so.
You can send the kids back on a bus, you can fly.
Why? Township pay for that?
They did say they do whatever it took to facilitate meetings.
There you go,
Yeah.
I guess so.
You just gotta fly Spirit. So.
So
We're
all
at
the
Dallas
survey-
Airport, so
All
I
the
guess they
survey
jump on
stuff
that.
that you guys do, how do I get that information? Because I wasn't here, I was on vacation last week, so
You should have gotten it, I would have thought.
She didn't email it out?
I didn't get any emails.
I bet she
She
didn't.
just sent it a couple of days ago.
Yeah, she did.
I didn't get anything, so.
Let's see.
We can forward it to you.
I was gonna say, or forward you her email and then you can contact her and ask her to add you to the list.
Bart's not on
Is
here.
that all right? It was 2 motions.
No, Bart's on here.
Is that what you're doing?
What's your email address?
LND
Perfect, thank you.
1211@gmail.
LND1211@gmail.com.
Yeah, I just left 80-some degree weather and came back with this crap.
We had 80-degree weather on Sunday.
We did.
Yeah, for about
We really
4
did.
hours.
Well, most of the time it was almost like 90 degrees. I was like, that's good.
It's only 62.
Yeah, but where else could you get 17-degree, 40-mile-an-hour winds?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Great to come back.
So you adjourn.
Yeah.
Motion to adjourn.
A second.
Yep.
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 So what's that sales stuff that Hilliard's using to produce now?
It's called Bloom.
Is that what they're making down south, or what they make down south at the old atomic plant and start shipping out everywhere?
No, those
I had
are the,
first graders on today.
those are those,
Yeah.
Oh.
are the
Yeah.
small mellow.
No,
Bloom Fire cells.
I'm multi-district. I do
it's
panels
technically-
and now.
I can never remember because they call them different colors.
Groveport now.
Okay, get rid of some.
Blue
I
hydrogen.
Oh, okay,
Right,
based
so-
on the fuel, or
The elements
So
is
they
great.
turn the natural gas
Yeah.
into
Yeah.
hydrogen through a water electrolysis process that is above me.
We're gonna do that right behind, there's a piece of farmland right behind FedEx on Seeds Road. And, that guy died. He was trying to, he was gonna, not similar, fuel cell deal.
Yeah, Yeah, so the bloom cells are basically like super high power generators, right? So instead of your typical natural gas generator, natural gas driven motor,
You guys ready
it
for,
literally
muscle car
creates the
weather?
hydrogen, and then the hydrogen is what powers
cards you got
burn
again?
hydrogen. Hydrogen burns water, right? So that's the idea.
Yeah, well,
So that's 80, so now it's kind of unnecessary, right? So that was AEP solution when they screwed up their grid calculation.
yeah.
So they just released data where AEP
Yeah, that was right there.
told everyone in Central Ohio that they were out of power, right? And they wouldn't. And they went on investing $7 million.
So like, I was at some last.
You really
work hard. I really
Saturday.
I thought that's
Well, they just announced that they screwed up and they doubled
You were
down.
testifying?
Yeah.
Because I didn't know,
And actually,
That doesn't make you nervous?
It did a little bit, but as long as I don't think
You
it's
gotta
gonna
wonder
work.
how much of that.
But it's.
You always are, no, you're on.
Did
you do good today?
There's a need, right? And so you don't get those properties, you can't improve your public use unless you have to. And you have to write in the domain from two
36 years ago, 30, no.
So, I mean, that was really what, I do a lot.
There's a lot of stuff coming out.
Yeah, I remember I was in the same shoes. Oh, yeah, so, yeah, they always ask me.
Pretty
When I was on the other side, if we don't ask.
Have you ever said anything?
Well, I'm running my business most of the time,
Right here, dude.
You're doing a lawn care thing?
I will look at it.
Okay, did I see you doing a lawn care?
Sketch on this ground.
No.
But in the fine print it says, we reserve the right.
Oh,
to-
no, there's one down there.
Here is like exactly what
Whatever
I
they
was
want,
like,
the same price. I mean, it's ridiculous, and that's just one.
Yeah.
See you guys.
You gotta.
But in the meantime.
This is yours, oh, this is.
You
Guys have a good one.
Oh, absolutely.